Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Egypt have signed an agreement with Greece in order to make a project in electricity linkage between Egypt and Greece. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Dr. Hafez Salmawy, energy expert. Good morning, Dr. Salmawy.
Good morning. Egypt Greek-Cyprus interconnection is considered a north corridor for Egypt to be interconnected with Europe. It will link both Egypt, Cyprus, and Greece. It has a capacity of 2,000 megawatts, and it will enable cooperation between the three countries in securing their energy supply, enabling Egypt to export renewable energy to both Greece and Cyprus, and behind all the European countries. So it will help in expanding the renewable energy sector in Egypt tremendously, as it will allow for more larger markets to be contributed. Specifically, Egypt has a relative advantage.
Yes, Dr. Salmawy, would this project meet the ambitions of Egypt in order to become a regional hub and exporter of green energy to Europe?
Yes, sure. This is come in line with the Egypt plans to be an energy hub. Actually, Egypt has a very strategic location. It exists between three continents, Africa, Europe, and Asia. And this gives Egypt a relative advantage as to being energy hub. Energy hub means that Egypt could import, export, consume, and transmit, which means that we could transmit electricity from other sources, pass through Egypt, and go through Europe. This is exactly what we meant by an energy hub. Also, energy hub means that in future, Egypt might be a market which means that trading of electricity could take place, which means that setting prices like different other markets which exist, like market in Europe, Euronext, different markets in Europe. So this will enable Egypt to have an access to cheaper energy, provide an opportunity for Egypt to export its energy or its electricity, as Egypt, as I mentioned, has a relative advantage, specifically in renewable energy, and Europe, specifically, will request if Egypt going to export will be renewable energy. Europe will not allow exporting electricity generated from hydrocarbons. They consider it like a carbon leak to Europe. So this is come in line with Egypt's plan to expand its renewable energy, benefiting from its relative advantage and exporting electricity. Greece, in specific, is very much in need for that. Greece, in South Macedonia and most of Greece, already have some old coal plants which need to be retired, in line with the European plan to phase out all coal plants, so they will be in need for additional electricity. This will also help Cyprus, which is an isolated system, now being interconnected with Egypt, as well as the second part of the project is to interconnect Cyprus with Greece through Crete. So this will also end the isolation of the Cyprus market, which will make electricity more economic for Cyprus as being part of larger pool rather than being an isolated.
Yes, Dr. Salmawy, what about the progress that this project have witnessed until now? In which stage?
The project is progressing so far well. It started in 2017 through signing what we call it the cooperation agreement, and then in 2018 the route as well as the landing point has been defined, which, for example, the interconnection will come out from Egypt from west of Brollos on the Mediterranean, which goes to Greece. And in 2019, a teamwork agreement has been signed, and recently in Nicosia. An agreement will take place for the preparations for the start of tendering and requesting the contractor to provide the tender for implementation for the first phase, which will take place between Egypt and Cyprus, and for 1,000 megawatts. So this is the first phase, which the agreement took place last week in Cyprus.
Yes, Dr. Salmawy, now Egypt is committed or plans to produce 42% of electricity from renewables by the year 2035. Could you please elaborate on this point?
Yes, actually, renewable energy could be provided. As I mentioned, this line is principally will be used for renewable energy. As I mentioned, that Europe will not allow for exchanging electricity from different other sources. This is consistent with the European, what is called European Green Deal, which is basically targeting that Europe reach a carbon neutrality by 2050. Egypt, as I mentioned, has a relative advantage. It has both solar and wind at very competitive price compared to the European market, which is give Egypt a relative advantage. But in general aspect, this interconnection is for exchanging electricity. I mean that if the Egyptian system, for instance, has a problem, it could rely for support from other threads from Cyprus and Greece. So this has improved the reliability of the Egyptian power system, as well as gives the Egyptian power system opportunity to export surplus electricity. I couldn't say surplus. I mean, this will now become a part of the Egyptian strategy for generation. So when the strategy for generation is being set, it will take place, it will take into consideration the opportunity for exporting electricity to Europe. So this has become an integrated part of Egypt's strategy.
I thank you so much, Dr. Hafez Salmawy. I thank you very much, Dr. Hafez Salmawy, the energy expert. Thank you very much for your valuable information and for joining us over the phone in the breakfast show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.